It's a city of almost 26 million residents, but nowadays Shanghai resembles a ghost town. Its streets are deserted and store shelves are empty. COVID-19 cases are spiking higher once again, and authorities have introduced a number of social restrictions to curb its spread. Residents appear confused about how long the lockdowns will last this time. Many have scrambled to stock up on food and other essentials.
I'm feeling very insecure and hearing a lot of rumors. Prices of goods are rising and the people are panicking.
After I heard that my compound will be in lockdown, I prepared some supplies, like drinking water and food. I have bought more than I need to be prepared for longer lockdowns.
I didn't think it would be this bad. Every single aspect of our lives, from clothing, food, living and commuting, has been affected by the lockdown.
China has taken a strict zero-COVID approach throughout the pandemic, quickly containing any outbreaks. But these restrictions are making it difficult for many businesses to continue working in the country. Supermarket chain Costco has shut down all outlets. Auto parts suppliers ThyssenKrupp and Aptiv have halted assembly of batteries, powertrains and other products. Others like General Motors and Bosch are operating, but with limited numbers of staff quarantined within their factories. A study by Goldman Sachs found that the areas under lockdown account for about 33% of the country's GDP. The business closures are causing an economic loss of about $46 billion a month. And real GDP is estimated to fall by as much as 12% for as long as the restrictions remain in place. Yet, officials say the current measures may not be enough to stop the spread of the disease.
China will continue to face outbreaks mainly caused by the Omicron variant, happening in many places at the same time. The situation of prevention and control is becoming increasingly severe and complicated.
Economic activity in Shanghai has already tanked by more than 66% since half of the metropolis was put under lockdown on Monday. If officials decide to clamp down harder, the toll on the economy will only worsen. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Guido Cozzi is a professor of macroeconomics at the University of St. Gallen in Switzerland. He joins us now. Many thanks for being with us today. Given the recent COVID outbreaks, Chinese authorities decided to extend the strict lockdowns in many parts of Shanghai. Which markets, and I mean domestic and international, are likely to be most affected by this?
Well, Shanghai is a city with a population comparable to half of the Italian population. So domestically, this will have a huge effect. Also because, we were all hoping that people could restart the social life, and instead hotels, restaurants, entertainment, transportation would be obviously severely hit, but also manufacturing, unfortunately, because many factories in the nearby world manufacturing hub are either shut down or severely downsized by this. Internationally, what we fear most is the logistic effect, because Shanghai has the largest seaport in the world, and if transportation from and to the port and also the airport are blocked, then there will be a huge negative supply shock in the rest of the world.
Exactly, and because you touched on manufacturing, and we recently saw a lower PMI print, is this mostly due to the new COVID restrictions, or has the conflict in Ukraine also played a role here?
Well, that's a good question, because it is difficult to distinguish between the two. Of course, there are we have seen the PMI dropping in countries far away from these COVID restrictions, like, for example, Germany. So I think the Ukraine crisis may be one of the major reasons for the first drop. But of course, the lockdown contributes to a further drop, and presumably also a bit of uncertainty on how fast the Omicron variant will spread through China.
China, we know, impacts other economies quite significantly. How persistent do you expect these drops in PMIs to be? What impact will they have on economic activity and sentiment in other countries?
I think so. Unfortunately, we are in a situation in which a pre-Ukraine war was impacted by energy supply shortages. So inflation had already started before the war started. So the war made it even more serious, especially for the West, not only for the direct consequences of the war that are there, including the refugee crisis, but also the sanctions that are very special because we are sanctioning a country that Russia that is exporting essential products and commodities to the rest of the world. So it is maybe more the West, especially Europe, that needs Russian commodities than the other way around. So the situation is extremely worrying.
One last question. Brussels also wants to step up pressure on Beijing to cut economic ties with Moscow. I mean, is a total cutoff between Beijing and Moscow likely? What does the EU really want?
Well, the EU desperately wants this war to end and would be delighted if China could put a lot of pressure on Russia to stop the war. However, that would entail a lot of cost for China itself, and I'm not sure China has the right incentives to do it. Also because Europe cannot really reward China in a comparable manner. For example, ideally, in my opinion, the winning card to convince China would be to offer our support in the transfer of our mRNA vaccine technologies, which they badly need, because at the moment China is relying on vaccines that do not have a high efficacy. So will put this country at risk. Time and again, if Europe would like really to have something on the table, they maybe could bargain on this. But at the moment, I am a bit skeptical that China will decide to cut off Russia seriously.
Guido Cozzi, many thanks for being with us today.